perfect example of why a lot of us media types think the Mavericks just aren't quite right yet as they approach the halfway point of the season. Last time the Mavericks lost 3 straight games during a homestand was over 8 years ago during the 1999-2000 season. It's all about college basketball this segment, and at first glance, Texas versus Baylor looked like the big game on the Big 12 schedule, but it's actually one of those hammer versus nail matchups. All these great mascots except for this guy, of course. Nice t-shirt there. Any last minute advice?
Yeah, just don't crash.
Okay, thanks. Should he really be juggling his lineup like this?
That's how I feel.
That's how I feel about this show. No, I'm just kidding. It was a great show. I don't even know what to say about that. Now, if they can win their final 2 games at Carolina next week, at Washington the week after, then they still have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And Daisuke Matsuzaka is tonight's pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. He has about 50 to 60 Japanese media members following him around. Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Hank Aaron. And speaking of greats, as you mentioned, the night was kicked off with another great singing the national anthem. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Primetime Sports. It's been a good week for the Mavericks. They had won 3 straight coming into tonight's game and taken over first place in their division, but it's what they haven't done that's been making news lately. While the Suns and Lakers have made big trades, the Mavs have basically just stood pat, and they say they're probably going to. Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs facing the Nets. They can still swing a trade for Jason Kidd. The NBA trade deadline still over a week away. Big first quarter for the big German. Dirk gets the pass from J.J. Barea, elbow jumper. Nets were still up 2-11 in the first quarter for Dirk, 21 in the game. Under 30 seconds left in the first, Jason Terry to Sagana Diop off the pick and roll. Mavs up 22-21 going into the second quarter. The second quarter, the Nets were down 36-25, but they make a run. Malik Allen jump shot brings the Nets within 1. And then Jason Kidd, there's that man again, puts the Nets ahead with a 3-ball. New Jersey ends the half with a 12-0 run, and they led 46-40 at the half. Big third quarter for the Nets. They just basically ran away with the Kidd to Richard Jefferson dunk after the bounce pass. Then Vince Carter finishes off a 21-0 run that was spread over the second and third quarters. 3-ball, good. Nets by 15 at that point. They couldn't stop the Vinsanity. Carter had 29. Mavs get buried in the swamps of Jersey. 101-82, the final score.
Well, we just lost our focus. We had some silly turnovers.
In the college game, Fort Worth native Brent Hackett is the 3rd leading scorer for TCU, but he leads the team and most likely the entire nation in one other key category.
Here's Parker dishing it out to Hackett.
Hackett also told me that after he graduates later this year, his dream job would be, what else, a sales rep or a marketing guy for Nike. And while we're talking numbers, an NFL record 13 Cowboys made the Pro Bowl.
Green less close, 99 search, Z Ghost on 1, ready?
Tony Romo wired for sound there. More Romo in just a second. In the first quarter, DeMarcus Ware, he once said that he was a receiver in high school and a good one. Here's why they switched him to defense. Fumble, the AFC recovers, set him up for a score. Marion Barber, he doesn't care that this is an exhibition. He always runs tough. So they call him Marion the Barbarian, making his first career Pro Bowl appearance. In the second quarter, here's Romo again. Escapability. We got to qualify this by saying they're not really trying to sack him, though. You know, this is the Pro Bowl. Nobody wants to get hurt. Winds up finding who else? T.O. That's my quarterback. 34 yards for T.O. That was set up. Romo showing a little more escapability. Touchdown T.O. You know who else is there? Vacationing with Tony Romo like he did a couple months ago. It's Jason Witten. He's going to be on the other end of this trick play. Devin Hester. He's going to turn, looking, throwing to Jason Witten. And this is a pretty good run for a tight end. That's a big 260-pound guy out in space. Nice run for Jason Witten. We got to finish it off with T.O. He's going to catch another TD pass. He caught 2 today. This one from Jeff Garcia, again, one of his all-time favorite quarterbacks, of course. Hey, the Cowboys win a postseason game, sort of. NFC goes on to win 42-30. Palestine native Adrian Peterson right there in the 28 jersey from Oklahoma. He was the MVP in the game. Okay, Jim Zorn, he was introduced as the new head coach of the Redskins today, just 2 weeks after being hired as offensive coordinator. Must have been a pretty impressive 2 weeks for Mr. Zorn. Now you're asking, who is Jim Zorn? Well, he's a former player. He was a quarterback for the Seahawks in the 70s and 80s, and he coached quarterbacks for Seattle the last 7 seasons. Now he has his first NFL head coaching job.
My hope is to hold the tradition.
Baseball is our next bit of business after we take our first time out. When coverage continues on Primetime Sports, Steve Dennis goes one-on-one with Hall of Famer and new Rangers president Nolan Ryan. You're watching TXA 21 Primetime Sports in high definition.
Ryan has done it again.
As recently as last year, new Rangers team president Nolan Ryan threw a pitch that was clocked at 85 miles per hour, and the man was 60 years old at the time. Ryan won't be pitching for the Rangers, of course, but he told our Steve Dennis the ways he will try to make an impact for this struggling franchise.
Nolan's the biggest hero we've ever had as an organization.
We have to take another quick break, but stay right where you are. We have some amazing video, some of the scariest video I've ever seen from a sporting event. That's coming up next. And also, when coverage continues on Primetime Sports, we will have another gut-busting edition of the Sounds of the Week. Great video and great sound coming up next. You're watching TXA 21 Primetime Sports. This next story is one I really need to warn you about. There's a lot of blood after a pretty gruesome injury in a hockey game today. I'd like to give fair warning to our viewers. Turn away if you're at all squeamish. Panthers forward Richard Zednik sustained a deep gash across his neck on this play. It happens kind of quickly, so you'll get another look at it in slow motion.
Richard Zednik is cut wide open.
After that, blood was gushing from his neck after being cut by a teammate's skate in the third period. He was transported to the hospital and listed in stable condition. That's the good news. The game was delayed for 15 minutes to clean up. Zednik immediately left the ice after the play with the Buffalo Sabres trainer applying ice and a towel to try and stop the bleeding again. At last check, he's in stable condition in a Buffalo hospital. Okay, in our Sounds of the Week, we hear from the world champion New York Giants just one more time. And I don't know how much Emmitt Smith got paid to shill for this dishwashing liquid or whatever it is, but I hope it was a lot. Hope you enjoy our Sounds of the Week.
I'm the only football player to have washed a dish this big. Thanks to Don Durayphone, I am the man.
And that is going to do it for us here on TXA 21 Primetime Sports. Again, as always, thanks for watching. I want to remind you again to tune in to that special edition of The Score with Babe Laufenberg tonight at 10:30 on our sister station, CBS 11. Have a great week, everybody.
Becca Mercadell is unique. Not just because she's a 15-year-old girl who's been driving a dragster for the past 5 years. We found several girls doing that.
The guys always have the attitude that they can beat a girl, but then they get all mad when a girl beats them. So it is fun to beat a guy.
Mercadell is unique for a lot of other reasons.
I'm the only African American girl that I've in this area of the country I am. Every race always said I'm the only African American, period.
She's also an attractive young lady.
I don't want her to be looked at as some sex appeal object. I want her to be looked at as a good competitor, a good driver.
She's very good in a very dangerous sport.
She's crashed before, and my heart was just gone. I mean, that was just, oh my God, I hope she never gets back behind the wheel, but she's very determined, and she's like, Mom, I can do it, it's okay. I hurt myself, I'm getting right back in, and she has.
She's developed and learned good sportsmanship skills. Made a lot of good friends, and I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased with her growth.
How Becca got to Texas is the most unique part of this story. The Mercadell family had to leave the home they'd lived in for 14 years in New Orleans because it was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. At first, they went north to Springfield, Illinois, before settling here in Fort Worth. Of everyone in this family, Becca seemed to take this tragedy the hardest.
This is not my home. I don't want to be here. Why am I here? And it was weird because it was like all this is happening so fast. It's hard. So
after 14 years of household accumulation, we walked out of there with a trash bag.
In that trash bag, items that a lot of people might normally take for granted.
This metal means a whole lot to us. We didn't actually vacate with this. You can still see the rust stains and things like this. This brick was actually a a brick off of our home. Our home was 51 years old, and saved this brick. So I thought that was neat, and we'll keep this brick in the family. We raised our kids in at home.
The Mercadells have been in Fort Worth for about a year now.
I'm waiting for it to feel like home, but right now it doesn't. And I mean, I do like it here, but it's just a lot different from what I'm used to.
Becca does feel at home at the track, and she should, since she races for the Mercadell Motorsports team.
Time to go race.
Dad is the crew chief. Mom is the organizer, or crew mom as they call her, part secretary, part cook. Little brother Josh is the equipment manager, and little sister Gabby is the team photographer. But after this life-altering tragedy, it's the cockpit of the race car that's become the safe haven for the team's driver.
It is the only thing that I have from New Orleans that I can do. So whenever I'm in here, I just get memories from back then, and I know I can do the same here. So it makes me feel good, and I can still do what I like to do.